I am Nikki Hamilton, and what I'd love to share with you today is simply a conversation. And it's a conversation around how to be generous without overgiving. Because I don't know about you, but many of us often will find ourselves in a space of giving so much of ourselves and then realizing that we're falling into resentment or depletion or overwhelm and wondering why we're doing it in the first place. I don't know if any of you have felt that way, and if you have, don't worry, you're in the right place, because I think all of us have experienced that. And so we do need to be able to figure out how to create better boundaries for ourselves without closing ourselves down. And here is the lesson: we can have an open heart, and it doesn't require you to give yourself away completely. And this is the beauty of women ultimately, is that we do give. We give our time, we give our energy, we give our expertise, we give our capacity. But when it starts to tip into overgiving, that's when the wheels start to fall off. And so the reason I'm sharing this today is that I am remembering today Dolly Parton. So I think all of you will know now that she's recently passed away. And I want to share a story that's from her life, because you may or may not know that she wrote that beautiful song, I Will Always Love You, that became famous with Whitney Houston many years down the track. And she wrote that song as a songwriter way back in the 70s. And the story goes that she was offered an opportunity to sing that with Elvis Presley in the 70s, which at the time she wasn't known at that time. So it was a huge opportunity for her, with the catch that he would take a large percentage of the royalties, meaning that she wouldn't really own her own material. And so here's the catch for her at that point. It was like, I've got this huge opportunity, this amazing opportunity to step in and sing with somebody that's famous, and I have to give away something that's important to me. What do you do? And for her, her decision at that time was, no, I'm not going to give that away. I'm not going to step into this opportunity. And she reportedly cried over that decision. You know, what if I never get this opportunity again? What if I'm missing out on the biggest step in my career? What if, like all of the self-doubt that fills us when we set a boundary? Like, we think a boundary is supposed to feel empowering. Most often it doesn't. Most often it makes us feel lacking or in self-doubt, or are we making the right decision? But when we make the right decision and start to trust ourselves with knowing what's valuable and important to us, then we start to build calm confidence and start to step into self-trust. And so that no led her down a path, as you'll find, as you know, sort of many years later, where Whitney Houston finally recorded it. And it made a lot of money for Dolly Parton at that time. But she wasn't to know that that would happen years later. And so here is the lessons I think we can learn from Dolly Parton. The lesson is, we can be generous, we can give from an open heart, and we also need to learn and know what is valuable for us, and to be able to say no. And yes, it will feel scary, and yes, we might be filled with self-doubt, but when we say no and protect what we value, we step into a new way of trusting ourselves. And here's the other element that I thought I would add as a lesson for the group, and I hope it's useful. Very often, when we are being generous, if it's coming from a place of choice, I'm choosing to be generous right now, it is aligned with what's important, and I'm giving this as a generous choice. That is very different to overgiving, because overgiving usually comes from fear. Overgiving is, what if I'm not enough? What if I don't meet their expectations? What if I'll never get this opportunity? What if I miss out? I better give it away. And that is an energy of fear. So the question that I hold for you is asking yourself, is my giving coming from a place of open-hearted generosity, or is it coming from a place of fear? Fear that I'll miss out, fear that I'm not enough, I have to prove myself, I better meet their expectations, I might not get this opportunity again. And when this is the space, when we're operating from giving from this space, that leads very quickly to overgiving, depletion, overwhelm, and very often resentment. So ultimately, when we have a heart that doesn't have boundaries, we end up overgiving. And then if we have a mind that doesn't have heart, we become disconnected. So we need an open heart that's generous, but also a clear mind to know what's important to me, what is this costing me if I give it away, and can I protect that with an open heart and clear mind without resentment or apology. So the questions I'd like to reflect on and just to share with the group, and maybe it's something for you to think about. There are no real lessons today, but just more of a reflection and a conversation that I thought was valuable because I was really inspired by Dolly's story. Like imagine being asked by Elvis Presley to have a song of yours recorded and having to feel like, actually, no, that's not aligned with who I am and that's not aligned with what I value. And I'm going to say no. I can't imagine how torn she would have felt, but it really shows a woman who is generous and open-hearted, but also knows her boundaries and also is not afraid to say no, not afraid to say no and to step into self-trust. So for that, I thank Dolly. And so the questions that I'd like you to reflect on from this experience with Dolly so if you're overgiving right now, or even if you're just giving, are you in a space where you're giving from generosity? Or are you in a space where you're giving from fear or lack, or maybe I'm not enough, or maybe I need to prove myself? Because these are two very different energies. And if it's because I'm not enough and I have to prove myself, these are the things that will leave you depleted. So it's about saying, actually, no, I'm not going to give that, and learning to set boundaries. I do go through in my group how to start courageous conversations and set boundaries, a really important lesson in learning how. But that's the first question. Is my giving coming from a place of generosity or fear? The next thing is do I know my worth? And do I know my worth? And where am I being asked to demonstrate it right now? So in your life, where are you being asked to demonstrate your worth? Your worth in your time, your worth in your energy, your worth in your creativity, your capacity, your knowledge. Where are you being asked to demonstrate what your worth is? Because when we know what's valuable for us, we can step into a clearer way of setting boundaries around that. And then the last question I'd like you just to reflect on is, what am I giving away that's really valuable for me and it's costing me? It's costing me. Am I giving away my time and it's costing me? Am I giving away my energy or my creativity or my intellectual property or my knowledge or my expertise? What am I giving away and what is it costing me? And if it's costing me too much, this is the space that we start to fall into depletion. So ultimately, what we want to do is give from an open heart, and that comes from the energy of generosity, which means I have enough energy, I have enough time, I'm happy to give this, and I want people to receive, and then know that we're not going to be giving away from a space of I'm depleted. I've run out of energy and time and I just can't give any more away at the moment. You've got to learn, where am I depleted? Where is my energy? And is this giving coming from a place of fear? Am I not enough? And what am I got to meet expectations? What is it that I'm needing to prove with this? Because that is the energy of fear. So I hope this conversation sparked a little thought for you today. I know I normally like to give a teach, but I thought, after reading Dolly's story, it really made me reflect on the kind of women that are in the world and the kind of women that we need to be able to step up and become. Because Dolly certainly had an open heart, but she also had a clear mind. And this is the essence of mind-hearted leadership that I teach, is that learning to be generous without it costing you is a really important lesson that Dolly has shared. So I hope you all have a beautiful week, and thanks so much for joining.